Well, hi everybody. I'm Tom Hill, a professional radio host, and my guest today is Bob Warner. He's my favorite contractor, and in my real life, I'm a commercial real estate broker, and he's done a lot of work for me. He's my go-to. So, Bob, tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the with commercial construction business, renovation, estimating, and helping people to get their project off the ground and completed.
Well, I've been running businesses since about 1981. Residential, commercial, industrial, many different projects around the state of Connecticut of different sizes.
As an example, how about this gorgeous subdivision that my friends tell me they like living there in Wolcott that you built and developed?
We started a project in Wolcott that we've done about 150 houses or so, a number of miles of roads. There's basically they're colonials started out around 1,800 square feet to over 3,000 now.
And you're start to finish, and it was a large parcel. You also are a developer and own some industrial and commercial buildings. How does that help folks that may want to go build a commercial building or get permits and get some help?
Well, with all of them, you have the permit process, design, and all the way through permitting and building out whatever you're doing, whether it's tenant improvements or building out your own facility, regardless of what it might be. And so having gone through the process of permitting and everything I just said, you learn what you got to do. And everything today is much more intricate than what it used to be.
Things are completely changing all the time, more complicated, more regulations, etc. So you're new, you've always been a consultant, but now you've set up a separate LLC to do consulting. And I know I bring things to you where people started projects, they can't finish them,
Yeah.
They go sideways. So your consulting practice, who should call you and how do you help? And give us maybe an example of 2 or 3 jobs you did lately for folks on the consulting advising side.
Right. Well, really anything that, whether you be a company trying to go into a location and develop it, or a homeowner or an industrial site where somebody might want to build out some offices or shop space, bringing my firm in, I'm bringing all those years of experience in, try to help them navigate all those different processes involved from design through construction. And
okay, so this is out of the ground construction, renovation. You bought a building, had to be fixed. I know you were in Oxford helping someone who bought an old foreclosed house that was all cockeyed,
Yep.
that you had to fix. Give us a couple of little examples of problems that you solve for folks and why they're hiring you.
Well, one was you mentioned the house in Oxford. It was purchased. It was owned by an individual who started building it. It was my client purchased it when it was basically framed windows, roofs, but not sided, or all just studs on the inside. And it was going in, getting all the records from the town of Oxford, all the plans, everything they had on record from planning and zoning or wetlands or anything that had to do, any permits that were taken, everything that had to do with that project, getting it all so you could get a feel for what was supposed to be done, what was originally permitted, and then try to get straight what was actually done and what was necessary to get it back online. And what we found was that the former owner had made a number of changes that weren't documented. They were contrary to what was on the plans and things, and we had to bring the original architect and engineer in to figure out everything that he had done differently.
Does this all mean that at the end they wouldn't be able to get a CO if you hadn't got involved because it wasn't built what was supposed to be built?
Yeah, well, they really needed to get all the proper information, even start to finish the house, because so many changes had taken place before you could even, you're supposed to get a framing inspection and rough-in inspection and whatnot, and all those things that needed to be done to be corrected from a structural standpoint that needed to take place before anything else could be done.
So that's the residential side. I know I sent you a couple of folks that were opening up retail stores, and they went in and built them out with different contractors and couldn't get the final permits. Talk a little bit about solving some of those problems and what the towns thought of you, because these jobs were sideways and people were mad.
Well, one was in Middletown, and they were going to do a smoke shop, and the original owner had gone in to build out his store without pulling permits or.
No, that's a no-no.
That's a no-no, yeah. And they got shut. Town hall was right next door, actually. They got shut down, and so I got called to come in. You had given them my name. I went in, tried to figure out what they did. Had to start meeting with the town. First meeting we had, we got a couple of fire marshals, a couple of building inspectors, health department, land use, zoning, etc. And they all come in thinking, you're the bad guy because all the
Exactly.
got shut down. And it's so you have to interface with them all and get them to understand, no, you're not the bad guy. You're there to fix everything.
And I can tell you from my experience with Bob for over the last 30 or 40 years, he has a great way he knows all the inspectors. He's a great way with talking to them and getting jobs to go back on track. Before I forget, I know you never mind a free introduction. How should get a hold of you? You want to give your cell phone? What's your thought there?
Yeah, they can reach me on my cell, which is 203-982-3481.
Say it again slowly.
203-982-3481.
All right, let's talk about Storm Sandy. I know you did a lot of government work.
Yes.
But you weren't in the government. You were
Right.
working for them. Let's give us a little bit about that. Because Storm Sandy, I think some jobs you worked on 2 years later that weren't fixed yet.
Yeah, we worked through the Department of Housing, State of Connecticut Department of Housing, and they would have projects in and around the state that qualified for their program, and they had a representative that represented the Department of Housing, and you'd go out. You had to get qualified, and there were paperwork you had to fill out and whatnot. And once you were qualified and approved by the state, you could then get involved in the projects, which we went through the process. We were approved. We started getting involved in them, and we worked on a number of projects in the state of Connecticut, from Norwalk, Fairfield, Mystic, Waterbury, a number of places around the
I
state.
know you're not afraid to get in your truck and go places. Also, you're an experienced real estate developer. I know I bring you leasing assignments. You know how to get financing with banks because you're financing, permitting, and running your own rental properties.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that experience and why that helps folks, because I bet a lot of people don't understand how to finance these projects and make them work economically.
Yeah, especially having not just started, but doing our own at the same time we're doing others, you learn, you can make contacts with different banks. Different banks are able to do different deals. Some banks, it's easier to borrow $1 million than it is $300,000. Other banks, you could borrow $300,000, you can't borrow $1 million. But it's knowing what niche they fill, what they're looking for to qualify for those projects you might be doing, and heading a client to the right bank that might service that a little bit easier than another.
And as a good broker, commercial, I enjoy working with people like Bob that return their phone calls, pays me a commission when it's due, always can help everybody. He's a team player. And one more aside, so we don't want to hold you up all day watching a story about Tom Hill and Bob Warner, but I would like to say, on the lifestyle side, you're an expert in baseball, and I enjoy watching. We're at your baseball little stadium here, cages, etc. I'd love to just hear a little bit about all the work you do coaching kids to be future baseball stars or enjoying the game.
Well, I started doing it years ago. My oldest was, I think, 13 when I finally put aside enough time to start doing it. And I coached a number of teams. Worked out at different facilities, the Strike Zone, one in Clinton, and then in North Branford, and then here in my office, my present location in Wolcott.
As Tom Shute would say, upper higher Wolcott.
Yeah, upper higher Wolcott. You get to work with kids. Kids are great. Kids are really awesome. They keep you young, knowing that you're helping them to succeed in a game that's really mostly about failure, and you teach them how to navigate that. And next thing you know, they start out with you when they're a little kid, and next thing you know, they're going to college.
I love it. Folks out there, he can navigate you against failure with your project.
Yes,
exactly. I'm Tom Hill. You can find me at tomhill.com. And this is Bob Warner. Say your cell phone again shortly.
203-982-3481.
Give him a try. I know you'll be satisfied. Thank you.